to do. And so that was what we did. So you have two alternates. The first alternate is are the skylights, which I think Sarah had talked with you guys about before. The skylight alternate addresses all the existing replacement of all the existing skylights on the road. And included in that are the security bars, since those skylights are in the jail section of the building. And alternate number two is the thicker membrane to address accidental punctures and also leaks caused by hail damage. You know those thunderstorms that we get in the middle of summer, spring, summer, fall. So that was there to try to address that. And again, trying to think long term here, knowing the issues that you all have had in that building with moisture. I wanted to make sure that we do not have any issues down the road with leaks in the membrane. So we pulled that out as a separate alternate to give you guys an idea about what it would cost to do that. And so here we are.
Let the record reflect that
Any questions or concerns?
That Jason Roach entered the meeting at 3:16.
Hey, this is Josh Gillum. I do have one question about the thicker membrane. Have you had experience with that with any previous clients, and have they are there any reviews on that particular product on it being effective?
Well, I actually asked that question during the bid process with the Carlisle rep who I worked with throughout this process to make sure we had a spec that was workable and would get you what you all wanted, but was not over the top in terms of cost. And I asked him that same question, and he said that they see this on a lot of state projects in terms of the thicker membrane to address the hail damage and accidental punctures. And like I said, I did ask that specific question. He says he typically sees it on most of the state projects that they do for the state of Tennessee.
In terms of hail damage, would that be covered under our liability insurance?
It would be, and I discussed that with Mr. Alderson.
Yes.
They just say that, it will withstand the hail damage. So this is our thoughts. That would be covered by the insurance. The hail damage was. The base bid contained walkways, correct, Mr. Alderson?
Yes, that is correct. You have walk paths going all over the place up there to allow access to the new mechanical units.
So if everyone does what they're supposed to do, then they will stay off the basic roof. But we know that some people don't do that, and we've even discussed.
Ideally, that is correct.
We've even discussed maybe getting a body cam for the workers when they're on the roof. They have to put the body cam on. That way we can see if they're staying. That would be one way to hold them accountable. We don't want to have to leave our employee up there with them all day. But if they had a body cam on and they knew somebody was watching them while they were up there, they could possibly stay on the walkway. Those are possibilities. But the bottom line is, pardon me?
Can you just put an all-weather camera out there anyway?
We could, but there's a lot of units up there, and just to put one camera up there, it would have to be multiple cameras to be able to see all the areas. So basically, you have a cost sheet there in front of you that tells the story of what you would like to accept and how much it's going to cost, along with, of course, now that we have true figures, we can get our costs for the architect fee as well. So does anybody else have questions for Mr. Alderson?
feel that the thicker membrane in the long run is gonna pay that, pay off that. I'd be in favor of thicker membrane.
Do the right first
That's at a cost of $125,894.
Is,
Thicker membrane.
hey, I do have one more question. Are there any estimates on extension of life of the roof by adding the thicker membrane from the manufacturer, the people who make it?
I did not ask that question. I'll be happy to ask that question. If that is something that you all would like for me to get, I'll be happy to, as soon as I get off my next call, I'll call the Carlisle rep and have him ask that question and see what his comment is, and I can send that back to Sarah as soon as I get in touch with him. But as I noted, I did not ask that question. You're going to get a 20-year warranty no matter what. But again, this fleece back alternate number 2 for the thicker membrane is going to give you a little bit more thickness, which should help with items like I mentioned earlier. Somebody walking, or some worker who's up on the roof looking at the mechanical units and is unscrewing things on the mechanical units to look at them like normally happens in the spring or right before winter, and they loosen the screw, and the screw gets up there, and it goes into the it goes into the membrane. It's going to provide a much thicker surface to hopefully reduce those sorts of punctures. So, but I can certainly ask that question based on what you were just asking, and I can get back to Sarah as soon as I have a response.
Well, that's fine. I just wanted to see if you did know that, the committee may want to move today on this, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Sarah can let you know if
Yeah.
I need the answer.
Mr. Gillum, we could always just not adjourn. We could dismiss, go ahead and do our budget committee meeting, and then you could reconvene the public buildings and make that decision if you do want to wait on that answer.
I mean, I'd like to have an answer.
Yeah.
It's the same committee except for Charlie is replaced with Mr. Alice for the budget, so if
So
Mr.
can you ask that question again? I want to write it down, make sure I get the correct information.
Are there any estimates on extension of the life of the roof by adding the thicker membrane?
Life with thicker membrane. Okay. If that's something that you want, I can certainly make a phone call and see what I can find out.
So we've got one more question for you from Mr. Tom Kern.
Yes,
Carlson, I have a question concerning the skylights.
yes, sir.
What type skylight are you putting in and warranty situation on them?
Well, in the specification, and I have the project manual up here, the specification noted that the skylights, the basis of design is Velux America LLC, and I've worked with their products for years, and it also provides substitutions for that product if it meets, if it is a comparable product to the Velux product. It is a fixed curve skylight, and it has a, let me find the warranty, it has a separate warranty from the roof, and let me see if I can find it as well.
That's all right, because I'm very familiar with Velux over the years, and I'm close to that product.
Skylights is for 10 years from the date of purchase, and it also has a 10-year powder coated finish warranty, which is included in the spec. So in terms of what they bid, I'm hopeful that they bid Velux, because Velux was the vendor that I spoke with when we were talking about this. But I won't know the exact vendor until we start receiving submittals. I will review it at that time to make sure that it meets the specs. If it does not not meet the spec, then I'll send it back, reject it, and they will have to do something else.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Would you like for Mr. Alderson to call us back or just send a text? You want to call, we'll call him back?
I mean, you can send a text to Brian.
Okay.
Just on the
You can just send a text, Brian, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank
you all very
you.
much. Absolutely.
So everyone, I'm sorry for my tardiness. First off, secondly, thank you for re-electing me as chair, I guess. And if there's no other public buildings business at this time, we'll go ahead and stand in recess and we'll take about 3 minutes. All right, so back to the question of the Justice Center project. I guess the question is, do we move forward with the extra cost for the thicker membrane? That's the question, correct? Or do we stay at the membrane that is not thicker, but also does not have that extra cost incurred? And the answer that we got on that was not definitive on it, whether it extends the life of the roof. So, item number 5 on Public Building Committee, I guess we just need to decide what we want to move forward with.
Well, I'll make a motion that for the taxpayers of Hawkins County and long-term last of that roof, we go with the heavier membrane.
All right, so Mr. Thacker has made a motion to adopt the bid including the thicker membrane. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Palmer. Any further discussion?
My only concern with that will be, you're paying $126,000 extra dollars, you're not getting any extra warranty. It's going to be warranted for 20 years, whether you pay the $126,000 extra dollars or not. Now, whether it lasts beyond 20 years is anybody's guess. This one hadn't even lasted 20 years, so it hadn't even lasted through the warranty hardly. So, I mean, it's fine if that's what the committee wants to do. It's 10% extra money, 10% on the cost. You're raising the cost of the project by 10%, and I'm just not sure that we're getting, because if the roof tears up, they're going to come fix it anyway, whether you pay that extra $126,000 or not. Is that correct, Ms. Davis?
If we don't accept the alternate and it's a puncture from foot traffic,
That
or
would be
if someone's up there and they drop something and it tears a hole in it, that would be on us. The warranty would not cover that.
For that?
Well, if we knew. Again, body cams could take care of some of that,
If we can prove that company did it.
Now, maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but I was looking at alternate 1 here.
but, no, it's alternate 2, Charlie.
I know, but they've got alternate 1, alternate 2. What's the difference between the $99,995 versus the $125,000?
Because number 1 is the skylights.
Number 1 skylight.
That's the skylight
Okay,
bid.
that's the skylight.
And then 2 is the better roof, and that covers foot traffic and hail damage with the better roof.
Mr. Chairman,
So if you go with the normal membrane, what would be the base price on it? I mean, I'm looking at it here.
It's the base bid. It's this
So
price
it's
right here.
$1,257,000.
Yes.
And then if they go with the heavier membrane, it's $125,000 more.
Additional. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. One thing that, and I keep going back, as long as I've served on this commission, that hearing that we got a bad deal in the roof to start with, it's up there. And correct me if I'm wrong there, but that seems that everybody said we had a bad roof.
It was leaking the day we opened.
So having said that, I probably would say, if we got a 20-year warranty, we just don't have the foot damage really in a way. And I now understand, as you do, the difference in that bid.
Yeah, I mean, if the warranty's gonna cover it either way, then I'm like Josh. I mean, I don't see the need for the heavier membrane, but, you know, if the warranty's the same,
Right.
It's not the same. The warranty will not cover foot traffic damage with the base bid. This alternate is a better roof plus warranty that will cover foot damage and hail damage.
Okay, let me ask the question when it comes to that. Are we putting, is it going to have installed walkways on it?
Yes, sir.
Then my question to you would be, what incurs the foot damage on it then?
If somebody got off the walkway.
Pardon?
If somebody got off the walkway, right?
If they get off the walkway.
Which people will do it because they don't care because it ain't.
It's a shortcut.
So you're not just buying the extra membrane, you're buying a warranty to go with it that will cover accidental things such as that.
and,
Okay,
you know, you can always
change a little bit.
put signs at doors and so forth where you go out onto the roof, that you do not walk on the roof itself. I know they're going to, but for our benefit, we could put signs there. And I know occasionally you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to get off that walkway, whatever it is. I know how they were at Eastman and on top of those roofs and everything else. And they got their fine gravel and all that stuff. But, you know, that would cover us if we had signs there at the door just saying, you know, that you stay on the walkway unless necessary, unless you absolutely have to. And there's always another possibility, if they had to get off, they use a saw. And we could have them sitting there. I know it may sound ridiculous, but I'm talking saw, rubber boots to put over their shoes or whatever to walk on if they had to get over, off that walkway.
Let me ask another question. Do we switch HVAC repairmen very often?
Normally, we don't.
Okay, then having said, I'm glad you said that, because if I'm going to deal with you concerning you doing our HVAC, that would be strongly recommended to you of the do's and don'ts of getting on that roof.
Could we not even add it in a contract that we had on
We
That's
site?
what I'm thinking, you know.
We could. That
And-
if they were off the walk path and we did have some damage, that they could
Absolutely.
be responsible. Of course, we're gonna be good for a year, because we have a warranty, but even the warranty company with the HVAC would, you know, have to stay on the walk path.
Yeah,
I think as long as we add them to the contract, then
that's what I'm thinking. It'd just be a very hard set rule that you understand
yeah.
if you go in contractual agreement with me on repairs and stuff.
So the motion that's on the floor is to adopt the bid with the thicker membrane, which would be 1,2,557,000, oh my gosh, 1,2,057,630 plus 125,894 for the thicker membrane. That's the resolution, or that's the motion that's on the floor. We'll go ahead and call a vote.
We'll just,
Yep.
both of them will also include the skylight as well, correct?
Right.
Is what we're doing, so that 99,995 or 70,287, if you went with the other vendor, would also be included in that motion.
Right.
I don't know, the only thing he said was the membrane.
Well, the original intent was, so
Let's just
Hold on,
ask-
what was your
So-
intent, Mr. Thacker?
So,
Well,
Let
that's
me-
before we were discussing the warranty and I guess 20-year, whatever it might be, and discussing the fact that if you use HVAC outfit, how good a cure they're gonna take care of it. You're gonna put it in their contract that if they do the damage, then they're responsible for it. All that played a part in my motion that I was making. Well, we might could get by without the heavy membrane if we had all this other in place.
I mean, we could. You're welcome to withdraw your motion if you like.
Well, I'll withdraw it, and if somebody else wants to come up with a better idea, you know, that's fine. If the warranty's the same though, you know, I don't see spending extra money. But we do need to have something in place that if they did damage that roof, like, and I'm not sure now does the HVAC and all that, and I guess they'd be a fair much or more than anybody would when one tore up, that, you know, if there's damage done to that roof, then, you know, they're responsible.
Okay, well, so the floor's open again, we don't have a motion pending, so I'll let someone,
But back there, our only, if we don't do it with the thicker membrane, get the extra warranty for the foot and hail damage, we could write into a contract about a company responsible for any damages, and then we just hope it don't have a big hailstorm.
And who's accountable? Who's going to keep that company accountable? Who's going to go up on the roof and knock the whole roof and make sure that they didn't puncture something or do something?
Who would do that, sir? Do you know?
Well, but we have not established
I'll do
that
it.
if that worker is upon
I'm
the
an IT
roof
person.
and he drops something bad enough to puncture a roof,
We
would it
don't-
not go through the thicker membrane as quick as it would the
That
other?
is right.
Probably not, but
Well, when you're talking about the thicker membrane, how much thicker?
that's
So, I mean, it may not be but 3 millimeters thicker.
so it may, if I drop something very sharp or
Yeah.
enough to puncture, I'm gonna damage either one.
Yeah.
I still think, I'd like that until she explained it to me. And I hear what Commissioner Barker said, of who's going to be accountable for this. But I think if we step back and take a hard look and say, hey, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire, and you may have a camera up there, who knows? And you know, somebody, clear me if I'm wrong, doesn't somebody have to give you access to that roof?
We do,
Pardon me?
we do.
Bingo. Then you can reiterate, when you give me access to that roof.
Well, see, there's other possibilities. You know, if they had to go up there, HVAC or whatever, to do whatever work, there could be rubber mats in place to where if they went out a walkway and had to get over to one of the HVACs for whatever reason, they roll that mat out and walk on that. They don't get on the roof, they walk on the mat. That would protect the roof.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a little expensive just to buy the mat, but, I mean, there's always precautions you can take.
It's my understanding, Mr. Thacker, that there's a walk path to the HVAC unit.
To all of them, should be, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we move forward with the $1.2 million bid and the first alternative with the skylights, not to include the thicker membrane.
okay, motion's been made to adopt the original bid with the skylights not including the thicker membrane. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker. Seconded. Any further discussion?
As far as the infection goes, like, or who would say it's been damaged? Could that be, who would that fall under? Like,
If we have a leak,
yes.
then we call the warranty company, or we submit a claim. They send a roofer up there, and at that time, the roofer repair will assess if, is it a defective membrane? You know, did somebody drop something sharp and make a hole? They take pictures, and then they send that to us and say, we're rejecting your claim for the workers on the roof.
So could that be added into the contract that any cost occurred with that inspection process be?
If it starts leaking soon after someone was up there, of course, you could possibly pinpoint that and say, hey, you did work there, now it's leaking,
Yeah.
there was damage, you dropped something sharp.
So we put in the contract any third party costs to determine the cause of the problem, which could fall back onto the person who caused the damage.
We'll ask our attorney, but I'm sure we could add something like that to our contract with HVAC company. We had a contract previously with Cook's Mechanicals. We had a maintenance contract. I paid them a certain amount monthly, and they took care of all the units. because when I first came here, that was my biggest expense. When those units were down, it was costing me money. It wasn't costing the HVAC company money. But after getting the contract, if those units were down, it wasn't costing me anything. It was costing them. So they made sure those units were running properly. They were doing the maintenance on a regular basis, because if they weren't working like they should be, they were losing money. We weren't. So we hope to do something like that again, because it worked out great for us. But they would not renew our contract because we couldn't give them a year contract, because we knew we were replacing. So now I'm paying for all the repairs at the Justice Center as well as the courthouse and annex now. And it adds up. The maintenance agreement was the best thing that we've ever done.
All right, folks, so the motion on the floor is to accept the bid without the thicker membrane. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Ms. Sarah, will you call the roll?
Danny Ellis?
He's not on.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I got the wrong roll call button. I'm sorry. I've not changed roles here. Tom Kern?
Yes.
Charlie Thacker?
Yes.
Josh Gillum?
Yes.
Jason Roach?
Yes.
Nancy Barker?
No.
And Robbie Palmer?
Yes.
5 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
All right, is there any additional funding for architectural services? Do we need to discuss that too? We can get to that part of the agenda in public buildings.
We need to go back to the budget, I guess.
The amount that's requested is all inclusive. I'll work up the budget amendment and get it in the appropriate lines, but the amount of money she's requesting for the 2 different scenarios is going to cover all monies needed.
So, and that's on your cost sheet.
So if that's the option you're going, then we're looking at the $111,141 is the deficiency in what we have as the project as a whole.
And that's for what?
That's for all Justice Center repairs. That's when you guys originally designated so much ARPA money, and then you came back and designated a little bit more and more ARPA money and some of that general capital projects funds. The whole allocation does not cover the roof and the HVAC, well, cover the paving, we scrapped the pavings out. So just to finish the roof and the HVAC, that's the amount of money left to finish those projects with project cost as well as architectural cost.
Okay, so we're good.
With
Good with public buildings.
public buildings, yes.
Yes, we're good with public
Yeah.
buildings. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's far by the leave.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Commissioner Gillum. Commissioner Barker has seconded the motion.
You're back on.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Clock back in.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Charlie Tag, you're out. Danny Tag, you're in.
Sign. Get your
I
time
feel so
card.
blessed.
Just stay right there. You're good.
Put your time card on your way out.
Charlie, don't leave, man.
Just leave, right?
All right, so moving back to budget, we'll now go out of session for the budget committee and Justice Center project. So,
So the question now is, where is that money?
the 111,000, yeah.
Yes, and like I said, I feel that with that, without the warranty and the thicker membrane now, I feel very comfortable that we can accommodate that without me having to run back there and double check on the interest. If you wanted to allocate it to ARPA interest, or if you wanted to do pure ARPA, or whether you wanted to do general capital projects. So just need direction from you all on where you want the funding to come from.
ARPA interest, regular ARPA funds, or capital projects. What are your three?
Have we allocated any of the ARPA interest to anything yet? What will you, is there a balance, I guess is what I'm asking? You don't have to tell me what we're allocated it to, but.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm comfortable that 111, 141 is fully capable with what we have left in our interest earnings. But yes, we allocated the East Hawkins County Complex roof, and we allocated the administration building ramp from interest.
All right. Anybody in the committee would like to
Well, we need the ARPA money for radios, for sure, we know that. And we can use capital projects money, but to your point, we don't want to deplete that.
You already used some on the roof on the east end, didn't you?
For the interest, yes, for the general capital projects, yeah, we use $500,000 on this project.
Makes sense to use the ARPA interest.
Who's making that motion?
I will.
Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Gillum. Any further discussion on the motion to allocate the remainder, the gap, which is, give me the specific dollar, $111,141
$141.
from ARPA interest funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Sarah, will you call the roll?
Get the right budget. Roll call sheet. Bobby Palmer.
Yes.
Danny Ellis.
Yes.
Tom Kern.
Yes.
Nancy Barker.
Yes.
Jason Roach.
Yes.
Joshua Gill.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
All right, any other business for the budget committee? Thank you, Commissioner Barker.
Can I go?
Yeah, you're off. Punch
Seconded
out.
by Commissioner Gill, all in favor?